Hey folks, Justin from Tackle Tactics. Today we are heading out on the freshwater to chase some bass in the kayaks. Stay tuned for another video popping out soon. Sean Beckers, our cast angler, and myself got out and we got stuck into over 100 bass in a session on the kayaks. It was absolutely crazy. So we're locking in and heading out for another session today. We've heard though, with the change in the weather, the bite has slowed down and dropped off. It's a much tougher bite. So I've been digging around for a secret weapon to take with me to try and get the bite today. So I'm still fishing the SwimZ 2.5 inch and 3 inch that got me the bites last session, but I've found another weapon that I'm going to take with me. So the TT RevlockZ Underspin Jighead is going to be my secret weapon today. So these guys have got me out of strife before on the bass, whether it's fishing the edges in summertime or fishing those deep schooled bass in winter, which is what we're going to be doing today. So basically it's like a TT headlock's jigheads in that it's got a headlock keeper, it's got a brutally strong mustard black nickel chemically sharpened hook, but the jighead actually has a tapered body shape, so a tapered head shape on it, and that's to handle the revolutions, the torque of the blade underneath. So it's an underspin blade. The secret's in this blade hanging underneath the jighead. So it creates flash and vibration while still allowing us to throw a long cast and get that thing down deep to the deep schooled fish. So available in a willow, that thin blade, and also the Colorado, this more rounder blade in a gold color and also a nickel silver color. So I'm going to take a mixed bag with me today and hopefully we can get stuck into a few bass on the TT RevlockZ Jighead paired up with the ZMan Slim Swims. Let's get the yak ready and get into it. Alright folks, we are out chasing a bass today and I'm rigged up with a 3 inch Slim Swims in opening night and I'm fishing them on a TT RevlockZ Jighead. So RevlockZ is an underspin style of jighead, has a blade mounted underneath to add flash and vibration to your soft plastic presentation, and it's got a tapered head design, and that head design helps to keel and control that blade, keeps that weight low and balanced on that 3 inch slimmy. So it's a beautiful bait fish representation, gives you that flash and vibration as well as that beautiful tail action of the Slim Swims. So a bit breezy today, so I've deployed the drift chute sea anchor out there to slow me down, and we're just going to work away on this edge, see if we can get ourselves a couple of fish. So we're fishing down deep schooled bass, winter bass on the bottom, so we're going to let that plastic work its way to the bottom and then commence a hopping and rolling retrieve. And with that blade on there providing flash and vibration, we can slow roll it, we can burn and kill it, we can hop it, we can do all those normal presentations that we would with our soft plastic while covering plenty of water. In a situation like this, winter time where you're fishing deep and also when there's a bit of breeze, sometimes the spinnerbaits and jig spinners can reduce your cast distance and also slow your sink rate, whereas you want to get it down there, and that's where a RevlockZ comes into its own. You can get big long casts with it still and get it down deep still, but you've got that flash and vibration that can trigger a bite from bass. Deploying our drift chute slows our drift. When you retrieve it from the water, if you just grab the other end of it, that'll allow the water to come out of it and it collapses. Drag it on board, we'll go and reposition, and then we can just deploy that drift chute again. One of my favourite areas to target when fishing for bass is points. So I've picked a point here and I'm just going to fish the plastic out from this point. There'll be weed in there tight, so I'll bring it out on a bit of a slow roll, but I'll let it fall to the bottom here now along the face of that weed. It's amazing how often weed points, lily points like this will hold fish. Oh, he drilled that. So that was just sinking down the face of the weed there, and that fish has just absolutely drilled it. Oh, brilliant take. And that initial run of the bass is just brilliant, makes them great fun to chase. Just fishing a good all round sort of bass combo. 7 foot 2 to 4 kilo TT red belly rod, 2500 Ceymar HD, 8 pound Pulse X8. Oh no, we pulled the hooks on him. Oh, he's got a mate with him, has he? We just pulled the hooks on him. Yeah, he's got a mate with him. Oh, you'll find that quite often. That fish had a mate following him trying to steal the food off him. So when they're schooled up in winter time, you'll often get them if you pull the hooks on one, another one will grab it. Then you get that initial run again. That's brilliant. They can't resist that presentation falling back down there. So that's a beautiful bass, and man, powerful fish. 8-pound braid, 10-pound leader. And I'm fishing that RevlockZ. I love those RevlockZ Jigheads for bass, especially schooled bass, but also good in summertime along the edges. That bit of flash and vibration on your jig head just fires them up. Oh, look at that, good healthy winter bass. Big fat fish. Brilliant. That's got that RevlockZ in his gob. I'll see if I can get a hold of him. Come on, buddy. Come on, mate. Come on. Oh, gotcha. There you go. Look at that. Nice, healthy bass. Scoff that RevlockZ with the 3-inch slim swims in opening night. All right, there we go. There's our 1/4 ounce RevlockZ nickel blade. So I'm allowing that line to fall back to the bottom, hopping it up off the bottom. And we'll cover plenty of water, see if we can come across a few bass. We'll spray those casts around the yak, make sure we're covering plenty of area, and then we might crack a pattern. We might find that there's bass in a certain area, so we can keep firing our cast back into that area where we're catching fish. So at the start it's all just about covering water, see if we can find ourselves a few fish. Actively feeding fish as well. Give that plastic plenty of time to get on the bottom. The fish are schooling deep, so get it down to them on the bottom. And we're just going to mix up our retrieves until we find something that switches them on. Yep, there we go. Just hopping that plastic and then letting it fall. Oh, they're loving that flash and vibration produced by that RevlockZ Jighead. Just enough to attract their attention, fire them up, and get them to bite. That feels like a decent fish. Again, fishing a point. I've just pulled up on this point. Points often produce bass, so they're one of my favourite areas to target. This guy is fired right up. The water's really clear. So I'm fishing opening night coloured slim swims and the nickel colour in the RevlockZ in the blade, so nickel coloured blade. And do you reckon this bloke liked the look of it? Look how far down that thing is. That is gone. So we'll pop that out. There you go. Beautiful realistic bait fish imitation. That's a nice chunk of bass on that TT RevlockZ Jighead. See you, buddy. He's away. You can see how clear that water is, so that presentation just looks very, very natural. Got that flash and vibration underneath there, that bit of a sparkle of the opening night, and those fish are just getting on that. That's brilliant. Again, we're just spraying casts around the kayak, covering area, looking for active feeding fish. If we catch a couple of fish in one area, I'll just make note of different things, like there's a white post on the bank there, or a particular tree or whatever, and I'll try and get a bit of a basic idea of where I'm sitting so that I can fish that same area again if I do catch a couple of fish there. Just take landmarks. Unfortunately, the wind picked up for the remainder of the session, and most of our GoPro audio was lost due to wind noise. The session produced 23 bass for me, including some crackers, with most of those landed on the 3-inch Slim Swims in opening night and the TT RevlockZ Jighead. This included a cracker 50cm fish. If you love your freshwater fishing and you're keen to get stuck into a few bass, check out those TT RevlockZ Jigheads. Fish on.